Hi and welcome to another Watch Geek video news. In today's episode I would like to cover the soon to be released Spinnaker Bradner. It is Spinnaker's take on the 1960s and 1970s super compressor watches that are having a bit of a revival. Although there are not as many models out there yet, I'm glad more brands are taking their shot at it because it's one of my favorite divers styles. These watches make standard divers watches look boring, and I love them for that. With the Longines Legend Diver covering the more expensive part of the market, Dan Henry with its 1970 model was the only one covering the affordable side. In fact, I was very close to getting one myself, but two things turned me down. The first one was the not-so-great lume. That, combined with the big black line running through the middle of the hands, made them barely visible in the dark. I still don't understand why they decided to do that, as even the vintage 1967 Exactus that they based the watch on had fully lumed hands. The second reason was the crystal material. They didn't go for a regular mineral nor a regular sapphire. Instead, they went with a mineral crystal laminated with a thin sapphire layer on top. The problem with such crystals, which are made by bonding two materials, is that different materials react differently to changing conditions, which can result in delamination or even cracking of the crystal. I disliked that idea, so gave up on that watch, only to learn later that there were reported cases of exploding crystals. Well, the Spinnaker Bradner seems to have both of these solved, as it comes with the regular sapphire crystal, which is very welcoming on a watch where the crystal is almost half the body, and will be getting the most scratches. The lume also seems okay, but more importantly, the hands and marker's shape allow for an ample amount to be applied, which should make it easily readable in the dark. The watch will be powered by the Seiko NH35, just like the Dan Henry 1970, which is basically a Seiko 4R35 movement for third parties, so it features both hacking and hand winding. The watch features an internal rotating bezel that is lumed and has the same raised indices that I loved so much on the Dan Henry. But here's the interesting part. The specs say it's unidirectional, which is not that common on divers' watches with internal bezels that tend to be bidirectional. The water resistance is 150 meters, which is another detail I find very cool because to me it sounds vintage, while 300 or even 200 meters to me somehow sounds modern, if that makes sense. The dial and hands are such a beautiful combination on the press release photos that they have left me speechless. Just look at the way the chapter ring has a gentle circular brushing with the numerals actually embossed in it rather than just painted. Or maybe they're just applied in a very thick way. Either way, it really makes it look amazing. Then the hands, they have a nice linear brushing that matches the finish of the chapter ring and goes well with the sunburst effect of the dial. It might not seem that important, but if they just slapped a pair of polished hands, it will be a completely different effect. The choice of these finishes on the dial, hands, and the chapter ring really shows someone had a very good eye for the details. Let's just hope the production models really end up looking like this. There will be 5 versions released, 2 black dials, one with regular lume and the other with a fake patina lume, 2 blue dials, again with regular and patina lume, and 1 green dialed version. Of all of these, the blue is the one I find the most attractive, but just can't decide whether I like the regular or the patina lume better. All the versions come in a 42mm case, which is the only thing that concerns me so far, as I'm afraid they might end up being too big for me. And since I don't have the lug-to-lug measurement, I won't know it until I try one on. So I'm still hoping of getting one for a review. The release date is an unknown, but if I had to guess, I would say very soon. And the price will be $285, which to me seems very reasonable for what this watch offers. Plus, it's not just another sub-clone. I do hope they plan on doing a smaller version, or at least do a lugless version of this, as it will make it fit any size wrist better that way without doing any changes to anything but the case. Now tell me what you think about this new release in the comment section and whether you find super compressors as interesting as I do. Well, that's it for today, so thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed and found it useful. If you did, please like and subscribe, and until the next video, bye.